student of mine wanted me to create a video of how to carve a wood spirit. So first thing I do is remove some bark in the area I want to carve, and then I draw two lines, reference lines here, and the first one I'm cutting here using angled stop cuts, and that's to mark where the brow ridge is at the top of the nose. Then I do a stop cut at the end of the nose here, followed by some push cuts. And these push cuts, you can see my left thumb is on the knife. I use that as sort of a pivot point, so I have greater control than just trying to do it with one hand. You'll slip with one hand, where with two thumbs on the tool, you'll have much greater control and much less chance of cutting yourself. So here you can see how I've got at the end of the nose much deeper than at the brow ridge area. Then I draw a sort of a triangle here to try and define the rough shape of the nose. And then I draw the eyebrow ridge above each eye. These are kind of half moon shapes or so. They're wider than what the actual eye is going to be. Then I use a palm gouge here to help remove material up to that area. You could use a bench knife to do this with some stop cuts, but I find the palm gouge really works well for this job. And again, I use my left thumb to help prevent injuries. When I'm pushing towards myself, that thumb is a stop, and I use it so that the tool won't go into my other hand. So you can see here, I continue to use that left thumb to help control that gouge. And I remove enough material so that it's just about as deep as what it is at the bottom of the nose in that eye socket area. It's not quite as deep as that. And then of course you do the same thing on the other side, trying to make it symmetrical so they look the same on both sides. Then I start to remove more material underneath the nose here so that there's a better transition. In other words, not as steep of an angle coming out from that underneath that nose. It'll look more natural this way. And then I make a stop cut from the edge of the nose and cut up to that, and that helps to form the cheek area. Now I want to cut off a little bit of an angle at the bottom of the nose, and I leave a little ball area at the end of the nose so it doesn't go to the middle, but it's about a 30 to 35 degree angle, I suppose. So a stop cut and a push cut, you do that about 3 times. It makes easy work of it. And then of course the same thing on the other side. I have to deepen the eye socket area. You can actually see about half of your eye from the side of your face when you look at somebody else's face. So we need to deepen this here so the face doesn't look so flat. This helps to give it depth. And then of course match it up on the other side. Next, I need to remove some material from the forehead area, as the tip of the nose needs to be the part that stands out the farthest. And so we need to remove area here so the face looks right, again, so it doesn't look too flat. And surprise, surprise, another stop cut and some push cuts. And I kind of drew a line to mark where the hairline is. And we do that, those stop cuts and push cuts all the way around. I have to take out some material between the eyebrow ridges here. And then I also have to change the angle up here where the hair is, so that looks more natural coming down to the forehead. I removed almost 2 inches there to create a better transition, a better angle for the hair when I create that later. Then I can start defining the mustache. I'm using a V gouge here, or a V chisel. Again, a knife could be used. The V veiner, I guess you can call it, or the V tool, makes short work of this though. After defining the mustache area, then I have to go back in with my knife, and I use that groove I just made as a sort of stop cut, and then I remove some material so that that mustache starts to stand out a lot more. Sometimes it's difficult to get the stick in the right position, so you just have to work with it until you can figure out what's the best and safest way to make the cut. So now I'm starting to define the mouth area here. I drew in a lot of the details here. And I guess first I started with the eyes here. This is a very easy way to make eyes. Perhaps not the most realistic, but it does the job. So basically it's one really, it's a triangle, so to speak, with a very small angle on one end. It's kind of a squinty eye. So I make a stop cut on the top and the bottom, basically those two long sides of the triangle, and then you kind of have to stab in on this side here in order to make that stop cut for the short side of the triangle. I'm just demonstrating that here. Then you want to remove some material up to that stop cut, and this is, you got to move slowly, and you can remove some material there, and the eye starts to come alive then. It looks a lot more like an eye once you start doing this. And you've got to work with the bottom the same way, but just take your time, and you may have to go back and redo those stop cuts on the top and bottom, and that actually helps to define it a little bit better, creates a little shadow line in there. As I'm doing here, I'm redoing that stop cut there, and it helps with creating that shadow line, makes it look a lot better. Now, after cleaning up some of the areas here, and I start using the V tool to start creating more details on the face. So I start with a little groove above where we just created that eye. That helps to create like a look that there's an eyelid up in there. And then you do the same thing below the eye to make sort of the bags under the eye. I didn't used to do either of those when I first made wood spirits, but it really helps to add some character. Here I'm adding a little bit on the nose here, and then after I do that on both sides of the nose, where you kind of have those two circular areas on either side of the nose, and then I create a groove to help define the cheeks better here. After using this V tool, you have to go back in with a knife and clean up to the line so that it looks better. So basically the V tool is creating a stop cut, so to speak. There I am creating that underneath the cheek on the left side of the face there now. So now I'm going to create that mouth. So I draw a stop cut across the mouth area there on the kind of the top of the lip. Just bring that across several times. And then I was doing it with the knife here, but then I pulled out my gouge to create the top part of that. That seemed to work better. I was able just to stab that gouge in, and as you'll see here, to remove some of that material, make it look like the mouth is open a little bit. There, see, I'm just stabbing it in there. And then I was able to remove some material with the knife point after a while. Then I use the V tool again underneath the bottom of the lip to give that some depth. And all these little things really help to make the features stand out more. And then used a knife to clean out a little bit up to that point. Then I took the V tool again, and the V tool is a great tool for creating the mustache and beard and hair. Basically, you're just going to create a bunch of lines, and you go slow with this. Don't try and take off a lot of material, and you just put a groove after groove after groove, and it really makes the hair look nice. When you get to the beard, you want to kind of make it wavy looking, so don't just go straight lines. You want to make it curvy. And then I do the same thing on the hair. My hands were in the way, so it was hard for you to see, but it was basically the same as what I was doing on the beard. For the eyes, to finish them off, I take a little awl here and put it. I don't like to put it directly in the center of the eye. Put it off to the side just a little bit, and then I just poke a hole in there. That helps to create the illusion of the pupil in the middle of the eye. And then do the same thing on the other eye and move that so that the eye looks like it's looking off to the side a little bit. It tends to look a little better than if you put them both in the middle of the eye. Then it's on to sanding. I usually use 120 grit sandpaper just to basically remove all the little burrs that are on here, the pencil marks that are left, clean it up, get rid of some of the tool marks. Helps to round over features. You can think of the sandpaper as another knife, because that's really what it is. Helps to remove material. And then I throw a coat of boiled linseed oil over it, and it really brings out the features then. You can just see it start to pop out. This is where all your work comes to life. This also helps if you've been working with green wood to help dry it out a little bit slower, so you can help to prevent cracks. Thanks for watching. I appreciate the support.